So supraspinatus, feel for the spine of the scapula, and then you want to be just above it, but you don't want to be on the upper trapezius. All right, so this is distinct from that. So that's upper trapezius right here. So if you need to, yeah, get a close look. If you need to, do this. Feel the upper trapezius and then isolate that from supraspinatus, which is here. And notice the angle of my thumb, I have to press inferiorly to get to it. So that's where it starts. And then it ends where it dips under the acromion process on Jessica, which is right here. Okay. The hot dog bun. Right. So super easy. Just press in it. And if you want to do transverse friction, then that would be anterior, posterior like that. And then if you want to introduce movement, keeping your hand on the table like that, drag your arm up and drag your arm down. So that's using the supraspinatus to do that. Go ahead. So I'm just holding there. I'm lifting my hand so you can see what's happening there. Good, and down. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Or having them shove.
Well, she's not moving her shoulder. She's just using the supraspinatus. So I guess the shrugging would be that.
Subscapularis.
Yeah.
I'm not levators.
Upper or upper trap or both. Yeah.
God, Christina, you're an
And that was the nice thing she could say.
This is my little
Okay, so that movement can be really helpful in isolating, making sure that you're actually on it. So that's good. You can clarify that you're really on it. So that's really important. I do that, but as long as you know you're on it, then just the pressing on it works really well. Then for infraspinatus, I want to feel the spine of the scapula, and I want to be just inferior to it. And so here's the vertebral border, so I don't want to be out here. That's not on it. I want to be on the scapula, right through here. Right in here is a very common trigger point. And so that's only relevant in that if you do this and your partner says, oh, I feel that at the back of my shoulder or at the back of my wrist, then you know you're on a trigger point. Is that okay?
Yeah. A little bit through the arm.
Mm-hmm. And just working your way down. So if we want to introduce movement, this is a little rotor. You can have them very gently, slowly go like that. That's why I have the arm off as I press. Good. Perfect. For teres minor, sorry, a little bit lower. So here's the axillary border over scapula. So I'm now off the scapula. So I want to be on it. Right here. Just be mindful of other folks too, okay? Same thing, you can go through that same movement. And then working your way towards the shoulder. And I can feel the muscle contracting and then relaxing. So when she goes like this, external rotation, it's contracting. Mm-hmm. Perfect. And then relaxing. So work that all the way till you get to the edge of the scapula. And then you're good there. Let's have her turn. So, well, yeah, I've shown you how I do the subscapularis, right? Well, let's do it anyway. Let's have you turn over for a second. So I was working on that arm, but just so that we're all in a good place to see, I'll just stay on this side. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So I know you've been shown this other ways, and that's fine. Do it however you like. This is how I like to do it. Is I like to get hold of the vertebral border so I can pull or retract the scapula so that I can have it stick out right here for me, so that then I can go into the front side of the scapula. And And so look at the angle of my fingers. I'm not going into the armpit. That would be an endangerment site and dangerous. I'm going posterior. Let me show you with the skeleton so you can visualize what's happening. Get into, usually that's an indicator that it's not a problem. It's rarely a problem. If it's easy and if it's really hard, like just because it's actually pretty easy to get into doesn't mean it's not tender. But some folks, it feels like it's just impossible to get in there, and those are the folks that need it the most. So that gets tricky. There's different ways. I had a colleague who used to like to do it side-lying, but that's a thumb-based technique, so I don't like to teach that so much. But that's how I do that. The movement, so the other thing I believe I've shown is she can go like this, which adds some oomph to it. She could also just rotate. So when she rotates internally is when she's contracting it, and then it relaxes. That's when it's going to hurt more.
Feel it.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
you said this.
Yeah, going that way, just because it just
Opens
it kind
it
of
up
brings it
to
even more
everything.
towards me,
Yeah.
and then it intensifies. Yeah. What's nice about introducing movement with that she's under control is that she's under control. She knows how much she can tolerate, and all I have to do is be the dummy. All right, turn it over again, please. Toes. So then we want to come into where the attachment is on the humeral head. So thumbs, one way to do it. And again, I could just pin that, and then she could go through this same rotation really nice and slowly. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm using my thumbs because it's easy to see. You could use your elbow or your forearm or your knuckles. It doesn't really matter as long as you're in the right place. But this works very well. Nice. So that's the basic